The 3-0 Wildcats hit the road, Jack, in hopes of keeping their record scratch-free. I'm Kara Stutzman.
And I'm Grant Boone. We'll tell you why this isn't just a normal Saturday for ACU football. It's the Ken Collums Show, and it starts right now. Welcome into Studio D1 for Week 4 of the Ken Collums Show. I'm Grant Boone, along with senior broadcast journalism major Kara Stutzman and the second-year head football coach at ACU, Ken Collums. The Wildcats are heading to Normal, Illinois to take on Illinois State tonight. By the time you see this, we'll already be there up in Central Illinois, Coach, getting ready for the fourth game of the season. This home run of 3 straight games really was a home run for your team. You guys just blew all 3 opponents out. Hard to imagine it going any better. Could it have? Is there anything you could have done better?
No, not in particular, because offensively, our first team offense has yet to turn the ball over in 3 games. And that's a normal thing. It's not normal for a lot of people, but it is around here because we live and die by that. And you walk in the doors and you're expected to protect the ball. You go to class, you're expected to protect the ball. Wherever you are, that's in the back of your mind. So we've been able to do that. And with a new quarterback, a lot of times that's a sticking point because you don't quite know the decisions he's going to make when he's under pressure, when he gets a little heat, how he's going to respond to an incompletion, anything like that. But offensively, we've responded. Defensively, we've forced a bag of turnovers. I mean, it's been awesome. And for the most part, we've kept guys at bay as far as keeping them out of the end zone. So it's been a really good 3-game run.
Well, one guy that the team last week couldn't keep out of the end zone was Taylor Gabriel. He had 3 touchdowns, including the 75-yard pass, and he's been out a little bit the first 2 games with, his helmet coming down over his eyes and kind of getting hit that first game. But he really came alive this past game. What has that done for your offense?
Well, it's just exciting. He's an exciting guy to watch. Whether he's back returning a punt, returning a kick, or running just a go ball down the sideline, who made an unbelievable catch in the end zone. I'm not quite sure that he was out of bounds. I'm going to say he's in, and the official was kind of looking at cloud formations. But that was an awesome catch. Whether he's running double moves or whatever it is, he deserves to have the ball in his hands. For us, production-wise, offensively, and for the people that are sitting in the stands, because he's fun to watch.
Well, we'll get to know Taylor a little bit later. You had a chance to visit with him. We'll see that later on in the show. But first, when we come back on the Ken Collums Show, we'll look back at that big 52-28 victory over New Mexico Highlands last Saturday night. It's the Ken Collums Show. Glad you're with us. Keep it right here. Welcome back to the Ken Collums Show. Before the 2012 Wildcat football season, wide receiver Taylor Gabriel sent then quarterback Mitchell Gale a text that read, "If you want to score, throw it to 4." Well, after last Saturday's 52-28 win over New Mexico Highlands, it would appear that this year's QB, John David Baker, got that message as well. With the highlights of number 4 and the rest of the Wildcats, here's Matt Sloan.
The Wildcats came into the game unbeaten, facing off against 1-0 New Mexico Highlands at home in Shotwell Stadium.
Waiting on the snap, has it. He's going to throw it over the middle, too high and complete.
Baker in the gun. It's a fake play action. Wants to go deep down the field. Going for Gary and Hogg. He's there.
He's got it at the 45, 40. Stops on a dime. Stays inbound to the 30. Gets away from a defender to the 30. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! Points to the ground. Takes the snap. It's a play action. Looking over the middle. The pass is caught. Touchdown. He's got it and drops back. Pressure coming from Warner, but it's picked up and it's thrown and picked off. Blake Rudd! His second interception of the season.
This touchdown pass to Daryl Cantu Harkless was one of 5 touchdown tosses for Baker, who also threw for 392 yards in just over 3 quarters.
And drops straight back. Time to throw. He dumps it right side, caught by Harris and wrapped up by Stevens. He gets out of it. Tackle recovered by it. I think Dornack has it. No, it's Thor Warner. Fumble recovery. Thompson. It's a play action, rolling right. Baker throws it wide open. Gabriel hangs on. Touchdown. AC.
Sharkhendrick West finds the end zone on a 1-yard run, giving him 6 touchdowns on the ground this season.
Two receivers to each side. Lewis good to go wide receiver screen, caught immediately. Hit ball on the ground, picked up by Nick Finney, running to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown ACU, Nick Finney. West is the tailback. It's play action. Baker wants to throw deep. He goes intermediate, caught by Gabriel, 40. 45-yard line, back to the middle of the field. He's gonna go. Gabriel 30, 20, 10, touchdown, no flags. 75 yards.
Next play, he gained a first down.
3rd and 5, play action. Baker fires wide open. Gabriel, touchdown, ACU. If you want hand off to Williams, running left. Now, back to the inside. That's got to. It's a fumble and picked up by Nadaris Ward.
ACU takes the knee to finish off the Cowboys and improve to 3-0. Wildcats win this one big, 52-28.
Thanks, Matt. ACU now goes to 3-0 for the season for the first time since 2010. And coach, your team with 196 points scored in 3 games. No one on any level of NCAA football, FBS, FCS, Division II or III, has scored more than your team's 196. Oregon, you may have heard of them, the Ducks, they're second with 184. Do you care about a distinction like that at this point in the season? Do you even notice?
Not really, because when you say those numbers, it's like, wow, that sounds like a video game. You know, it doesn't even sound real.
Look like that at times.
At times it does. It has, at least in the first 3 games. But we don't talk about that much. We talk about being explosive, and we talk about lining up properly, running the right depth of the route. When the timing works out, you'll catch the ball with separation. Then at that point, the guy's talent and ability takes over, and that's when you can rip off chunks of yards and even touchdowns, and that's what has happened the past several games. Is we've scored some long touchdown passes, and but having that distinction, that's cool. But I'm more interested in read that turnover gig again.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have we turned the ball over? That's ultimately what's gonna win games, because you're not gonna outscore everybody. You're not, even when. Way back in 2008 when we would score 50 a game, you're still, we got beat in the 3rd round of the playoffs because you're not going to outscore everybody. And you've just got to play clean football and get some stops on defense.
Yeah, your first team offense still has not given the ball away. That will be tested when you guys play tonight against Illinois State. Taylor Gabriel, 2 catches for 21 yards coming into game number 3. Part of it's because he barely played in game 1 with a little bit of an injury. And then a couple of catches in game 2. And then Saturday night against New Mexico Highlands, 9 catches, 160 yards, 3 touchdowns. He now has 24 career touchdowns, 2 more, and he moves into the top 10 all-time at ACU. And last week he went over 2,000 yards for career receiving yards, and he joins the likes of Jarrell Badon, Clyde Gates, and Johnny Knox on that list, 3 guys you
Not
coached.
Bad. Yeah,
that's pretty heady company. So when you think about Taylor compared to some of those guys, not who's better, but just what are some of the similarities? Where do you think Taylor stands among some of the guys you've coached?
Well, the first thing you realize when you put somebody in that category, you got to play a lot of football, and you got to stay healthy for the most part. You better be a tough person, because football is brutal, even on receivers. It's tough. Those guys take shots. Your legs start wearing out halfway through the season because of all the starting and stopping and restarting. And it's tough. But the first thing I think of is just football instincts. Those guys that you said, we could put them anywhere on the field and they would understand the concept of what we're doing. They would be able to maneuver, be able to stop and weave and get open, do real wide receiver stuff. Not, hey, you go 14 yards and turn around, or you just go 15 yards and run across the field and we'll throw it to you if you're open. It's not like that. These guys know they know what to look for before the snap, coverage-wise. They pay attention during meetings. After the snap, when the coverage changed, they know what to do, and it comes second nature to them. If you have a robotic type receiver that is only does exactly what you tell him, well, what if the picture doesn't look right? You know, how are they going to react? But these guys, all those guys, they were instinctive in what they did, and not to mention they were upper level talent. I mean, Taylor's a talented guy. He's not as fast. He's got speed probably like Jarrell. I would think maybe a little more than Jarrell, but not as fast as Knox and Gates. But he can throw on the brakes like nobody you've seen. I mean, you see a car that throws on the brakes, that front end goes down, and that's what he does in his routes. I mean, everything just, I mean, it's like he's screeching to a halt, and he'll turn around, and he's got sweet hands. So, for the most part, when you get the ball around him, he's gonna make the catch, and he adjusts to the ball really, really well.
It's really interesting. We always think about a receiver's ability to accelerate, but the ability to stop is huge, and that ability sometimes, as we saw Saturday night, can occasionally come back to haunt him. He was trying to get extra yards, and he in turn really gave up what would have been a first down. You guys went on and got the first down, as it turned out.
And sometimes
you were frustrated with that.
Oh yeah, and that has to do with greed. That is no talent. It takes no talent to be greedy as a player. And all of those guys, all of those playmaker type guys, they'll catch it and they'll want to score.
Yeah.
So it's not, hey, dude, the first down is 4 yards from me. You catch it and hit the gas, and we'll run another play to you on the next first down. But you know, at times all that creeps into every player, whether you're a running back, whether you're a quarterback forcing a ball. And John David, I think, has done a really good job of don't be greedy. We talk about how greed will kill you as an offensive player, and he's done a really good job of being patient. And really, you hear all the time, take what the defense gives you. Well, I mean, that is the gospel truth as far as quarterback play, but it has to do with greed. And Taylor got a little greedy on one play, and that's, you know, he was having a good game, and we corrected him verbally, and it was good.
Well, we even commented on the radio broadcast that knowledge that he can do that, which cost him a few yards on that play, is that same ability that allowed him to go 75 yards down the near sideline. He cut in, then back to the sideline on a great play. You mentioned John David Baker, 14 touchdowns, no interceptions, 75% completion percentage, and almost 1,000 yards throwing. He's tied for first on any level of the NCAA with those 14 touchdown passes, ironically with Jimmy Garoppolo, the guy that Illinois State faced last week. So in 7 days, they get the two guys who are tied with 14 touchdown passes to lead the nation. But his ability, as you say, to take what's been given to him and not force and get his team into the proper setting before the snap has been at least as big as those gaudy numbers, hasn't it?
That's right. And you can tell when a quarterback comes off the field, you can look in his eyes and look in his face through his body language. You can tell if he's in trouble. You can tell if he's teetering on hitting the panic button, or if you can tell, hey, coach, I got this. You know, I know what happened. It was this linebacker that made the play, and I'll take care of that protection-wise. But he has got a good grasp of what we're doing, and he should. He's been here forever. He sat in quarterback meetings of mine for the last 4 years. So if he didn't know what he was doing, then shame on me. But he is. But a guy can know what he's doing, but to be able to go out and do it with poise, when you get a little pressure, which he's going to face tonight, he's going to face immense pressure. He's going to refer to it as looking down the barrel. He's going to have to look down the barrel, throw strikes, take a hit, get up, fix his helmet, pull his helmet around, and to sit there and do it again. That's real quarterback play. Now, that's not to take anything away from our offensive line, but if Illinois State is going to blitz and heat up Ball State, I'm pretty sure when we roll into town in their new little stadium and with the great atmosphere, they're going to heat us up too, just to see how we respond. And we all know that, and John David knows that, and our receivers know that. So we'll play to our strengths, which is I like our matchups out wide with Taylor and Harkless and some of those guys, and we should do fine.
I thought of his 11 incompletions last week. Several of them were some of his best decisions of the night to just get rid of the football and live fight another night. It's been a great start so far for John David Baker. As you say, he'll have a big test tonight when he takes on Illinois State, and we will preview that game against the Redbirds a little bit later on. But when we come back, The latest from the JMC Sports Desk on other Wildcat teams as Southland Conference play begins. Stay with us here on the Ken Collums Show.
Welcome back to the Ken Collums Show. The soccer team starts Southland Conference play this weekend. More on that and the other fall sports on campus with the JMC Network Sportscast.
Welcome to the JMC Network Sportscast. I'm Sharoni Morosky. Volleyball traveled to New Mexico for several games this past weekend. Neely Borger talked about what the team learned from the competition and how they will use the experience as they travel to Oral Roberts in Oklahoma this weekend.
Well, our two hardest opponents are right off the bat, and so I think coming off with that win last weekend will definitely help with our confidence level. And you know, the two losses that we had earlier, those were we didn't want to lose, but we learned a lot from those matches, and we're going to take everything that we did learn into this next weekend, hopefully.
Wide receiver Taylor Gabriel had a huge game for the Wildcats last week. Gabriel caught 3 touchdown passes and also went over 2,000 career receiving yards. Kara Stutzman caught up with Gabriel to talk about him a little on and off the field.
I'm Kara Stutzman here with Taylor Gabriel, wide receiver for ACU. Really impressive. We're just going to kind of take a little walk and talk with him about his career and what he plans to do after. So you really enjoy ACU?
Oh yeah. I feel like God has put me here for a reason, man, just to humble me and just to, I'm around just good people. So.
Now I heard that there's a little saying that you like to say about scoring. What could you say? Could you say that for me?
If you want to score, throw it to 4.
Well, how did that whole, if you want to score, throw it to 4, how did that start? Was it a text message or?
My little cousin came up with that, and I guess I said it to Mitchell Gill, and it just, I don't know, Grant Boone got onto it, so it just.
How has your family been a support for you?
Just the process, like my junior year in high school, my mom had passed away, and at that time I felt like giving up on football and giving up on a lot of things, but I felt like my dad has been a big support, and also my granny and my aunt. So I've came a long way from thinking that I was going to give this sport up to where I am now.
Now you do a lot of, I'm going to kind of start and stop you here with that, because that's what you do a lot on the field. You do a lot of, I guess, jukes and spins and different things like that. Is there a specific, I guess, move that you do, or does it depend on the defense?
I mean, I've been playing football for so long, I would say just it's more of a gut instinct. Like, someone could ask me, what was you thinking when you was doing this? I mean, I really don't remember what I did, but I just know I just scored a touchdown. So it's really a gut instinct, I would say.
Well, thanks for talking to me today. We get to know a little bit more about you as a person, as a player, and see how you can get all those touchdowns and all that extra yardage. For the Ken Collums Show, I'm Kara Stutzman. Back to you, Shira.
Many ACU sports are now fully immersed in Division I athletics. Women's soccer coach Casey Wilson talked about how the Southland Conference is in full swing for ACU soccer and how the team has adjusted to the fierce competition so far.
Well, I think that, I mean, to give the Lone Star Conference some credit, I feel like that the Southland Conference is not going to be a whole lot different than the Lone Star. I just think that the talent will be deeper, but I feel like that we should be able to step in and play with just about every team. But what it comes down to is I just think the talent level will be stronger all the way across the board rather than maybe here and there. But I feel like that we should do fine.
For Sharon Numerowski, I'm Matt Sloan. Thanks for watching the JMC Network Sportscast. Be sure and join us again next week.
Don't touch that remote, because when we get back, we're previewing tonight's game against the Redbirds of Illinois State. So stay with us right here on the Ken Collums Show.
Back here on the Ken Collums Show, let's take a look at some of the scores from around the Southland Conference last week. Congratulations to the Houston Baptist Huskies, a brand new football program this year. They got their first victory in school history, defeated Wayland Baptist 52-28, the same score, Coach, that your team knocked off New Mexico Highlands by. And McNeese State Cowboys continue to roll. They beat West Alabama, a team that you guys beat late last season And McNeese now goes to 3-0. They scored a touchdown inside the final minute to stay unbeaten on the season.
Well, Coach, let's take a look at tonight's game against Illinois State. They're 0-2, but the teams that they've played is a huge FBS team in Ball State and their longtime rival Eastern Illinois. Now, this is going to be their first home game, our first of many away games. What kind of atmosphere are you expecting in Normal?
Well, first of all, the 0-2 start of theirs is certainly not indicative of the quality of program or team that they have this year. They were leading Ball State for the longest, playing well. I mean, they were getting after them pretty good. And Ball State just ended up, because of depth reasons, whatever, just ended up winning the game. Last week against Eastern Illinois, that is a huge rivalry game, and who knows how that's going to go in rivalry games. And it just they didn't play well at all, and I don't think they're very happy with that. And Eastern Illinois can flat out throw the ball now, and they took advantage of some of the things that Illinois State did. But we're walking into a program that's, I mean, they can play. They're in the playoffs almost every year. They are where we want to be, and that's the kind of the measuring stick right now. Okay, we say we want to be that, we really do. Then, all right, this is how far we've got to go. What we're going to walk into is a new atmosphere that we hadn't been in, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a hostile environment, sold out crowd. They're going to put as many students as they can right behind our bench, and we'll get harassment the whole game, which is awesome. Yeah. That's what you want when you go on the road. And because it makes your guys hone in a little bit more. So we'll see what we're made of tonight, and it should be a fun one. If we go in and play good, play clean, get some stops on defense, which is going to be tough because they're the major part of their team is O-line and D-line. They got some big guys that can move people, and ultimately that's where the lagging is that we've got to make up as the years go by is just to develop some depth in those areas.
Coach Brock Spack of the Redbirds is in a similar position to you. He's trying to replace a program guy, a former Missouri Valley Conference Offensive Player of the Year in Matt Brown, a 4-year starter, kind of like Mitch Gale was to you. And he's brought in a couple of talented guys. I mean, he's got Blake Winkler, who came in the second half of last week's game against Eastern Illinois. And the guy who started the first two games, Jared Barnett from Garland, Texas. He was the quarterback for Iowa State when they knocked off Oklahoma State a couple of years ago on that Friday night.
That's right.
When you've looked at those two guys on film, Barnett, who's been starting, and Winkler, and by the way, Coach Spack said it's a game-time decision as to who's going to start. What have you seen that those two guys can bring to the table?
Well, I think maybe one of the reasons they can't really name a starter is the lack of consistency in those players. They're good quarterbacks, and they can make throws. So they'll make a throw, you're just like, ooh, that's tough. I mean, they'll have the receiver will have one step on the DB, quarterback will put it right there. But the next, a couple of throws they'll make, then they may miss one. So I think that, but both of them can move around, both of them can operate. You can tell they have full command of their offense. So anything we show them, the quarterback-wise, they should be able to handle and go to the right guy, which is what makes a good quarterback. But it'll be interesting to see who starts. Bottom line is both of them are good, so it doesn't matter to us.
You mentioned earlier that the O-line and the D-line are kind of where you want our guys to be in the next few years. One of their D-line guys, a defensive end, Colton Underwood, that man can play, like flat-out play. I think you said he reminded you a little bit of Ashton Whiteside. And I just wanted to know how your offense is going to go at him and that massive Redbird defense. Yeah,
well, my shoulder started twitching like when you started talking about him. We have affectionately referred to him as the Undertaker.
Oh.
Okay, and that's around our offices. That's what Colton Underwood. He is a quality player. I mean, he is what you want in a D lineman. He's 6'4", 255, plays super hard, not a dirty player at all. I mean, he's a guy that's just going to put pressure on. If he's on a guard, he's going to put pressure on the guard. If he's playing an end, which they move him around all over the place. He's going to put pressure on your tackle. So we'll have to know where he is, and how we handle him will probably be indicative of how our offense goes. Now the problem is if he was their only guy and they only played one guy, that would be okay. But they've got a bunch of other guys that are really good players, and so that's going to be just as any game, but more so this game. That's going to be where the game is either won or lost. And we've just got to be smart with what we do. Coach Young knows, hey, we've got to get the ball out. We've got to move around a little bit. And ultimately do what John David can do. We're giving him enough time and just protecting the ball. Still being aggressive, though. We're not going to go up there and go into a shell. And so we're gonna do what we do and get after them.
Renovated Hancock Stadium gets to host a game for the first time tonight for Illinois State, so it should be a great atmosphere. You guys, with a charter flight up there, one of the perks of going D1.
Yeah,
A lot of fun. Should be a good one. And Lance Fleming and I will have the broadcast tonight, 6 o'clock kickoff, 5:30 pregame on 98.1 FM in Abilene and all over the ACU Sports Radio Network. You can check it out at acusports.com. For Kara Stutzman and for Coach Ken Collums, I'm Grant Boone. Thanks for watching the Ken Collums Show. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll see you right here next week.